There comes a point where something inside you stops reaching in the same way. Not suddenly, not in a way you can clearly trace back to a single moment, just a quiet shift. You begin to notice it in small things, in the way you pause before explaining something, in the way you form a sentence in your mind, and then let it dissolve before it leaves your mouth. Because something in you already knows how it will land, or more accurately, how it won't. It's not that you don't have anything to say. It's not that you don't understand yourself. It's not that you've run out of clarity. You've said it before, in different ways, in different moments, with different hopes each time. And each time, there was a quiet expectation that this time, something would shift. That something would reach them. That something inside them would recognize what you've been trying to show. But it didn't. And for a long time, you stay in that space where you keep trying anyway. You adjust your tone. You soften your reactions. You choose your words more carefully. You go back and explain things again that were already clear to you. Not because you doubt yourself, but because you still believe. There must be a way to finally be understood, and that belief stays with you longer than it should, because at some point, it stops being about communication. It becomes about being seen, being met, being recognized in a way that feels real. And when that doesn't happen, you don't leave right away. You stay, you give it more time, more space, more chances than you ever intended to. Because there's always that quiet thought in the background. Maybe they just need a little more time. Maybe they don't see it yet. Maybe something will click eventually. But nothing clicks. Not in the way you imagined. And slowly, without a clear moment where everything breaks open, something in you begins to understand a different truth. Not loudly, not dramatically, just steadily. You begin to see that it's not about saying it better. It's not about choosing the right moment. It's not about trying harder. It's about the fact that they were never really standing where you are. And that realization doesn't feel like relief. It feels like a quiet emptiness. The kind that doesn't ask to be noticed. The kind that simply stays. Because if they were never truly hearing you, then all those attempts, all those explanations, all those efforts to bridge the distance, they were never going to lead somewhere different. That's the part that takes time to settle. Not the idea itself, but what it means. Because when you stop expecting to be understood, something else shifts too. You stop reaching in the same way. You stop repeating yourself. You stop returning to the same place, hoping for a different outcome. And at first, that silence feels unfamiliar. Not because you want to speak, but because you're used to trying. You're used to filling the space. You're used to explaining until something changes. And now, nothing changes. But you're no longer trying to change it. And that's where it begins to feel different. Not easier, not lighter, just different. Because the absence of effort creates a kind of stillness you haven't known before. A stillness where there's no more adjusting, no more softening, no more searching for the right way to be understood. And in that space, you begin to notice something unexpected. You're no longer losing yourself in the same way. There's no constant pull towards something that never truly held you. There's no pressure to translate yourself into something more acceptable, more digestible, more likely to be received. That pressure is simply not there anymore. And it doesn't feel like relief. It feels like the absence of something that used to take up so much space. The absence of trying, the absence of waiting, the absence of hoping that this time it will finally be different. And what remains is something quieter, not peace, not closure, just a kind of acceptance that doesn't require anything else to change. You don't need them to suddenly understand. You don't need a final conversation where everything is finally explained. You don't need a moment where they realize what you were trying to say all along. Because that moment is no longer something you're waiting for. And that's where the shift completes itself. Not in what they do, not in what they say, but in what you stop expecting. You stop expecting to be fully seen there. You stop expecting to be understood in the way you needed. You stop expecting something that was never really happening. And that doesn't erase what you felt. It doesn't make it smaller. It doesn't make it wrong. It just places it somewhere else, somewhere that no longer depends on them. And maybe that's the quietest part of all, that nothing needed to be resolved. For this to settle, nothing needed to be explained one last time. Nothing needed to be fixed. It simply reached a point where you could see it clearly enough to stop asking it to become something else. And once that happens, there's nothing left to prove, nothing left to repeat, nothing left to wait for, just a quieter space where you no longer need to be understood in order to remain where you are. And maybe the strangest part of all is not that you stop explaining. It's that you stopped questioning yourself for not being understood. There's no more going back to the same sentences. No more replaying what you could have said differently. No more searching for a flaw in yourself just because someone else couldn't see you. And it doesn't arrive as a decision. It doesn't come as a clear thought. It just happens that you no longer need to be understood for what you are to make sense.